Hey guys, I wanted to do a quick review, non-spoilers review of the new Star Wars movie, Rogue One, which I saw today um, here in Helsinki because in Finland and some other countries the movie comes out a couple of days earlier than in the States. So this is gonna be just a few minutes of me rambling about the movie, not in any specific order, but just to give my general thoughts. And they are uh, they are very positive. It was a great movie. The first thing I should mention is that um, Star Wars movies, the last two Star Wars movies, The Force Awakens and this Rogue One, have been the only movies that ever have made me cry in a movie theater. And not from any sorrow or anything, but just out of genuine joy. This happened to me again today with Rogue One. Because from the opening screen, I was like, "Yay, this is gonna be nice." But before I get into any more specific stuff, I have to mention that being a Star Wars nut that I am, I have read the um, Star Wars novel connected to this movie called Catalyst. So I went into this movie with some more background information than just people that have seen some trailers or some TV spots or some maybe some previews, if you can call them that. But I knew about some of the main characters. I knew their motivations. I knew why they were doing this. I knew uh, well, for example, director Krennic is flushed out more clear in the novel Catalyst than in the movie. So uh, that having read that helps. But if you haven't read or seen any of the previews or novels surrounding this movie, that's totally okay. That's that's fine. But yeah, but now to the movie. Yeah, from the opening screen, from the opening tip, from the opening line, I was into this movie so much. Um, the movie is structured very well. It flows. There's all the time something happening on the screen that keeps you riveted to the screen. And I think that's the most important thing in a movie like this, because I was smiling from ear to ear, from beginning to end. And just the feel of the movie, because it's connected to episode 4, The New Hope. Just the feeling of the movie was like genuine vintage Star Wars movie. It had um, it just felt like a real Star Wars movie, and that's a lot um, coming from that's a lot said coming from Star Wars nut like me who has seen the even the prequels. I know that people hate them, so do I. But the prequels were bad. I would use some other word, but let's let's leave it at that. They were bad, and the uh, Force Awakens. Okay, it was a great movie. It was an excellent movie. I enjoyed the heck out of it. I have seen it. I saw it in a theater maybe 8, 9 times. But but because of Rogue One's straight connection to Episode 4, I don't think it's a spoiler. It's there's straight connection to Episode 4, but it felt like a real Star Wars movie, and because of course, if you have seen Episode 4, The New Hope, you get it what the characters are doing in the movie, so that helps also. But looking at the movie just from a perspective of being a standalone Star Wars movie, it's still a great movie. It still get you it still gets you buzzed because there's just something great seeing some like classic characters like the classic stormtroopers, the AT-ATs, and all that good stuff. X-wing space battles, just the feeling of the whole thing, and I was totally wrong in thinking that um, uh, some of the characters would be flat, like the character of Jen Erso, the main character of the movie, was perfect. It was perfectly set up. Of course, coming from me, who has read the novel Catalyst, I knew some of the backstory, but still, it's I was surprised because I was fearing that the performance might be a bit flat coming from the trailers. And speaking about characters, you have to mention K2SO, the robot in this movie, who was absolutely perfect. The dialogue that you see in the trailers coming from him, some of it wasn't in the movie, but he was so funny. But he had also a very good dramatic presence. So, so you kind of fell in love with the character of K2SO, and you cared about him. And there's some things that happen to him during the movie that makes you feel very bad for him, but I'm not gonna go into detail about those because, as I said, this is gonna be a non-spoilers review because some of you people haven't seen the movie yet. So yeah, but and director Krennic was absolutely perfect. A bit stiff in a couple of places in my mind, but still absolutely perfect. And the performance Ben Mendelsohn gives in the role was spot on. Was absolutely spot on. The action was fantastic. Um, it was very well edited together. You didn't feel like okay, we are going from this one event to this other event, and you know the feeling you sometimes get. You lose the connection between bits of different scenes. This didn't happen, at least for me, in this movie. Although you were moving very fast sometimes from place to place, from planet to planet, from action piece to another action piece, uh, you didn't get lost, and and that's something to be said because some people, well, many people were scared, were absolutely scared, and before anybody says anything else, I was one of them when I heard that they were gonna do extensive reshoots. I was like, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, what is this gonna do to the movie? And of course, I don't know what scenes were from the reshoots and what scenes were from the originals shoots, but the movie just flowed. And my personal experience was that you could see the good flow of the movie most perfectly in those action scenes that were fantastic. And one thing that was missing from the Force Awakens was the space battle. Everybody was speaking about you gotta have a space battle in a Star Wars movie, and I have to agree on that. But I was like, don't do it like you did in episode one, where it was like it felt like so dumb. It felt dumb because uh, there were people going into space battle wearing well almost pajamas in my mind. So it was stupid. But in this movie, they in Rogue One they take it seriously. They make sure that everything is perfect. The X-wings are perfect. The U-wings are perfect. The TIE fighters are perfect. The Star Destroyers are perfect. Everything is done into perfection in regards to the space battles. And actually, one thing I have to mention still about the positives is the use of certain characters. Again, I'm not gonna go into spoilers, but for example, Governor Tarkin was used very brilliantly in this movie. Not too much, not too little. Just when you needed him, he was there. When you didn't need him, he wasn't there. But in some sense, you felt his presence. You felt his presence. Sorry. And oh boy, we got a we got a dog dude in black. That's Darth Vader. We gotta talk about him. Although I'm not gonna give anything away, but people, my friends, you are gonna enjoy him in this movie. If you like Darth Vader, oh boy, you are gonna enjoy him so much in this movie. James Earl Jones gives a very nice performance, very good performance. I was, although I'm 35, I was scared in some sense because they got the feeling of Darth Vader right. They got the fear factor right. They got you felt his presence even when he wasn't on the screen, which isn't a lot. He's not in the movie a whole lot. I didn't count the minutes, but he's not there. I would say more than oh 5, 6, maybe 7 minutes. But those 5, 6, 7 minutes count a lot in the overall arc of the movie. Uh, yeah, it was. He was perfect, and I have been a Darth Vader fan or Sith Lord fan for as long as I remember, for as long as I can remember. So they served him perfectly, and I was and as I was saying, the character of Tarkin was done brilliantly. I haven't checked who was playing him, but whoever it was playing him did a perfect job. Did an absolutely perfect job. You have to remember that this is a very classic character that many people have their minds set on how it should be played or how he should be played. And oh boy, uh, it was perfect. It was, as you can see, I'm almost speechless. I was so floored. But okay, unfortunately, every movie has a couple of mm, not so good things. And for me, there was only one big thing which I'm very disappointed by. Actually, I enjoyed it when I was watching the movie, but now when I I came home, I started going through YouTube and I saw some clips of the trailers, and I happened to click on this trailer that had this Imperial March feel to it. And I know they lost a composer in in a very late stage of the movie production, so of course that's not good. But they bring in this Michael Gincino, or however you should pronounce his name. And from what I heard, he had like 1 month to come up with a score for the movie. So so you have to give him that he didn't have that much time to prepare and to well, I have to be honest. I sometimes I feel like he didn't get the main meaning of Star Wars soundtrack in the movies, because although I enjoyed some of the musical bits and pieces, I really did. They were fantastic. But, and this is a huge but, you were you didn't get a Star Wars feeling in some of the key scenes from a musical point of view, and that's in my mind a really, 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 really bad thing. And as a huge John Williams and Kevin Kiner fan, because my absolute I'm an absolute fanboy of Kevin Kiner's music for the Star Wars Rebels TV series. He has done an absolutely impeccable, absolutely perfect, absolutely brilliant job with that series. So after hearing this score for Rogue One, I was so disappointed that they didn't use Kevin Kiner, because he's very good in putting together a score that is sounds like a John Williams score, but isn't a John Williams score, but still is a Star Wars score. You still get the feeling that it's Star Wars score. Um, in Rogue One, there's a couple of scenes where you get the feeling like da 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 da, we are in Star Wars, just because of the music. And keep in mind all the time now that I'm speaking about the music, nothing else in the movie. But in a couple of key scenes, I really feel like if they had used some of the themes, like the Imperial theme or something like that, created by John Williams, or even something created by Kevin Kiner, would have been better than this Michael Gincino score, which I was so looking forward to buying this score before seeing the movie or hearing one bit of the music. And I saw this one, little snippet of Star Wars YouTube extra or whatever you want to call it about the music, and I was so into it. I was like, "Yay, this sounds good," and "Yay, this and that." But now that I heard the music, no, absolutely no. Don't use that kind of score anymore, even in the standalone movies or especially in the saga movies, episodes 9 and 10. Don't. You are gonna scare some people away from the movies, because for many people the music is as important as the movie in itself. The music, the classical score done by John Williams, is a very important part of the lore of Star Wars. So, yeah, although I was rambling for a couple of minutes there about the music, Basically, that's my only complaint. And ladies and gentlemen, please, 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 please stay in the movies until the absolute end of the movie. I know that sounds stupid, but there's something that happens maybe 3 minutes until before the close of the movie, and I jumped out of my chair when I saw that. I was shouting, I was hollering, I was screaming, I was crying, I was anything and everything. I was beside myself. It was perfect. The ending was absolute gold. And the first thing when I came home today after the movie, the first thing was that I connected to my iTunes and loaded up my episode 4 because the two movies are connected very well to one another. So you get you I don't know about you, but I got an absolute urge to watch again the original trilogy after seeing this movie. And actually, I thought that that I would be only interested in seeing the saga films, episodes 9, 10, after this movie. But no, 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 no. I'm absolutely looking, and this is the bit that surprised myself. I'm absolutely looking forward to seeing the Han Solo standalone movie with Aaron, with Aldrin Elden Wright or whatever his name is, the young guy that is gonna play Han Solo after the in the standalone movie coming out. Was it 2 years? But yeah, as my final thought, if you are a really big Star Wars fan, you will get so much out of this movie that you don't know. You have no idea. If you are a casual Star Wars fan that just likes the movies in themselves and you don't read any books, any comics, any you don't even watch Rebels, you are gonna get mm, very much let's not say very much, but you are gonna enjoy yourself very much in this movie. If you are a casual moviegoer that doesn't follow Star Wars and what's happening with Star Wars and what's going on with the films, how are the films connected? Because that's another point of contention. There wasn't opening crawl, so a thing that this movie didn't do very well, in my opinion, was that it didn't explain when this movie takes place. Although, if you watch the movie, you will get it at the end. But when you start watching the movie, that uh, you don't get it right away if you do not follow Star Wars lore or Star Wars books or Rebels or comics. You don't get it. You will get it at the end, or maybe much sooner than the end. But at the beginning, you are like, huh? What's going on here? Who are these people? What is going on? But that's a small thing. But as I was saying, if you're a casual movie fan that just wants to see some action, this is a movie for you as well. And my total score, let's say from 1 to 5 stars, would be like 4 stars. And the 1 star, or why it's only 4 stars, because without the problem that I had with the movie score, this would have been a 5 star movie. But with the problem that I had with the movie score, only okay, not only 4 stars, but 4 stars. So it's an absolute blast of a movie. I will see it in a movie theater because this one other thing. This movie is absolutely one that you should see in a movie theater. Of course, you can see it when it comes out in DVD, Blu-ray, whatever format. But this movie is the one that you should watch in a movie theater because then you get the feeling of the movie. Then you get how big this movie really is. But yeah, when you go to movies, enjoy yourself, have a good time, laugh at a couple of jokes. But this movie is not a kids movie. If you have like 8 year olds, 7 year olds, or even 9 year olds coming with you to the movie, I would reconsider and watch the movie myself the first time without any kids. Because unlike other Star Wars movies, this movie is violent at times. Not all the time, but at times, and it doesn't pull any punches. The action is very gritty. Uh, the action is very like in your face couple of times. So it's not like there isn't any Jar Jar Binks. Okay, maybe a bad example, but there is not any Jar Jar Binks level of jokes or any funny things designed for kids. It's a gritty, very violent at times action movie that I heard one. Sorry, I heard one reviewer say after seeing the movie that it's a action action movie that happens in the Star Wars universe. That has as a backdrop the Star Wars universe. In some sense, that's true, but in another sense, this movie is a very violent chapter, and it needs to be very violent because subject matter that this movie deals with isn't going to get solved if you do it with soft hands, let's say. You have to be very violent, you have to be very gritty, you have to have the sand blow in your face, you have to have death, you have to have pain, you have to have all that stuff. But yeah, I'll try to finish this now. So, if you like Star Wars, go and see this movie at the earliest possible convenience. If you like, if you are a casual movie fan, you will enjoy the heck out of this movie still. But yeah, those are just my thoughts. I'm thinking about doing a spoilers review maybe this coming weekend when the movie has come out in the States, so people won't be screaming like, "Why did somebody spill this or spoil that?" No, if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it this weekend. So stay tuned for that, and thanks for listening.